Welcome to another edition of Chocobo Chasers. We are back. We're a little bit later this week. Thanks to everybody for the patience. Obviously, life just has a way of happening. So we are excited to be back this week. It's going to be a little bit lighter this week. Not a ton of gaming news right now. And, we're not going to elaborate more than we need to on kind of everything that's going on. So few things we definitely do want to touch on. There's some really exciting news. One bit we've already posted to our socials. Another that we're actually going to announce on this show. So you guys will be the first ones to hear it. So before we go ahead and get to that, we're going to kick off the show as we normally go ahead and do What Are You Playing segment. Eric, I'm actually going to have you go ahead and start us off this week, man.
I delved into something. Is a free game on Epic. Midnight Suns.
Oh, yeah.
I got it a couple weeks ago when it was on sale. I haven't gotten very far. I've only played the first two, like the first level, and done some of the stuff. But this game's not anything like I thought it was when it was advertised. Like the card thing was a little bit it's like XCOM, meets Gwent. I guess, but you're not like having like other, like the CPU doesn't have a deck of cards. It's just your moves. It's a lot of fun though. You create your own character, which I didn't know you were going to do. I thought you just picked a team of Marvel heroes and did all this, but there's a story behind it. They had Lilith in it, Demon Mommy Lilith, shout out. And but the characters are pretty cool so far. I mean, like you get some of the Marvel favorites. You get Blade, which is fucking awesome. Big Blade Blade movie fan, except for Trinity. That one sucks. But Blade 2 is one of my favorite movies. Shout out to Guillermo del Toro on that.
Just the master.
Yeah, dude, killer. And then you have. Let's see. I haven't gotten Ghost Rider yet, but I've Iron Man, Blade. Who else comes in? Dash. It's a few other ones.
They got like Wolverine, don't they?
Doctor Strange,
Spider-Man.
So I haven't unlocked any of those yet. I fought Venom. You fight Venom on the first level, which is pretty cool. The story so far is pretty interesting. It's I think one of the main guys is Troy Baker. Maybe.
That is not surprising whatsoever.
It kind of sounds like him a little bit. Let's see real quick. I'm going to look it up.
He voiced Iron Man in Avengers, right?
In Marvel's Avengers
was that Square Enix.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Matthew Mercer is the main character. And Michael J. White's Blade. That's fucking awesome.
That's stellar casting right there.
Yeah. So far, I haven't played a ton of it. Played maybe 2 hours, but I'm having a lot of fun with it so far, and it's something I can definitely see myself in. It's definitely a nice turn your brain off and play, and it's cool because you get to do some crazy Marvel superhero stuff.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome, man!
Play some Valorant with the boys. That the usual, little comp, never hurt anybody. Finished my first battle pass and got cool skins for the Odin. It is Odin season officially, everybody. In case y'all weren't aware. And then that's really it. I haven't played a whole lot other than that. New gigs kind of keep me kind of busy. So,
hell yeah. I am excited to finally try Valorant when it's coming to console here pretty soon and just get fucking wrecked by everybody.
I just need to be invited and I'll be down for Valorant.
I honestly just need to download it on my PC.
You can join the Discord on Friday night.
I know, but it's just I get tunnel vision. I start doing my own thing. So unless someone says, "Hey, you want to play this?" I'm just gonna keep doing my own thing.
It's the old saying, Dash. It's DBAB. Yep. Just don't be a bitch. Just join.
Yep. Okay, I'll go remind myself.
Look yourself in the mirror and I tell myself that every morning.
So I'll go next. This week
we want to hear from Dash.
We want to hear from Dash.
No, I'm fucking with you. I'm just.
So this week, with the launch of Shadow of the Erdtree, I decided to restart Elden Ring. I have actually put quite a bit of time into it. I just unlocked a weapon I didn't unlock on my first playthrough. So I'll preface this by saying I didn't beat the game the first time I played it because I got stuck on a boss and it was at a point where I didn't really feel like I could grind.
Boss?
It was in the place where like everything is floating in the air. So I feel like I was like decently close to the end.
Was it what's his face? The dog or whatever?
No, it was. I think it was the Godskin duo. Maybe it was two together. I do remember that, and it was
fucking
rough.
The Godskin duo.
But yeah, just couldn't get past it. So I decided to take a different approach this time a little bit. I focused a lot more on my gear. I got one of the better weapons in the game, the Rivers of Blood Katana, which is fucking sick. and doing a bunch of bleed damage. So it's been a lot of fun. I am constantly reminded, obviously, how fucking hard these games are, because man, from games there's really just nothing like them, and the high that you get when you finally beat said boss, again, also nothing like it. It may be the hardest game that I've played that I've enjoyed, because Sekiro definitely takes the cake as the absolute hardest game I've ever played, and to the point where I didn't like it. That's how I hear people kind of talking about Shadow of the Erdtree a little bit. But I guess that there's a few maybe tips and tricks that you can utilize that make that experience a little bit easier, a little bit better. Those enemies apparently in the DLC kind of scale with you, so it's meant to be difficult. But in addition to Elden Ring, I have been playing a little bit more of MLB The Show. Just that's kind of my turn your brain off game for right now. I'm literally just waiting for college football, because once that comes, it's all hands on deck, and you will not see me again for a minute. So
the podcast is just going to cease to exist.
Yeah, we're gonna just take an indefinite hiatus at that point, while I just become totally ingrained in this game. But those are probably two of the main ones. I didn't play too much Kingdom Hearts this week. It's been a pretty light week, because mostly oh my gosh, Dash is going to be talking about this game too, so I'm going to just very briefly touch on it. Still Wakes the Deep. I don't want to spoil this game for anybody, but it is awesome. I purchased the game. It is a little short, even for a $30 price point. I don't regret my purchase, but it is short. So just something to keep in mind if you do end up purchasing it. It is, I'll say this, from a dialect perspective, it is one of the more unique games. Scottish Gaelic, verbiage is super heavy in this game. So if you have some friends from the UK,
thank God for subtitles there.
Yeah, or from Scotland, yeah, it's a little bit hard to understand at parts. And I do like that there's a simple translation for certain things. If there's jargon that's specific to those regions, because there definitely was, and I was like, I have no idea what the fuck that means.
And I think there's an achievement to beat the whole game in Scottish Gaelic.
Yeah.
So there's like a whole language option there.
There is.
That's like the rarest achievement, I think. It's like less than 1% of people even have it.
But it's definitely a game that I will play again. I've really enjoyed it. From a vibes perspective, it hit every note that I was hoping for. There's just a hopelessness that you feel while playing this game. I'll compare it to The Thing a little bit. That's all I'm going to say about it, because man, it is awesome.
Best horror movie ever made.
Yep.
Yes. It's today's the anniversary, 40th anniversary, I think, of The Thing, which this is just your mission now is to watch this film. If you haven't seen it, or if you have, go watch it again, because it's incredible.
Let's keep David on here at some point too.
That'd
be like the dream right there.
We're gonna get Kurt Russell. That's the dream. And
has he ever done any video game stuff?
I mean, we can convince him. He's not out of the game yet.
Yeah.
So
Solid Snake is definitely Kurt Russell. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, no, it's 100%.
Well,
literally
he
just
is.
He's Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
Escape from LA. Escape from New York first. That's the better one.
Yeah, but
LA's cheeky, but I like it.
Just 80s Kurt Russell is a vibe that will probably never be matched.
Big Trouble Little China, dude. Just like a movie
good.
A movie that shouldn't be fucking good, but it is.
But it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's just so great. But yeah, those are the games I played this week. Again, pretty light week. But Dash, I'll actually pass it on to you.
Yep. I'll go ahead and just continue the ball rolling with Still Wakes the Deep. So did my playthrough of that too. I didn't buy it. I had Game Pass, so that's how I acquired it. Apparently, the Game Pass version is missing some graphical options that the full release does. I'm not sure how many games do that on Game Pass, because apparently there was another game that did it, according to people bitching in the reviews, but I still had a good time. Some choppy frame rates in like the outdoor areas. That was about it. But otherwise, it ran pretty smoothly. But just like G said, this game's atmosphere is top notch. It was really horrifying, especially when you encounter the first of these creatures that you'll be dealing with. And the design of them especially is very unique. I really enjoyed them, and especially because each one that you encounter has some sort of different way it was portrayed or done. Especially like the third one. That was probably the most intense chase sequence inside of that whole game.
Though the one that sticks out to me, and maybe that's the one that you're referencing right now, is when you're outside and
No, it's the one after that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to spoil too much because obviously it's a brand new game. A lot of people haven't played it yet. But sorry, Dash, go ahead and continue.
Yeah. No puzzles really or anything that you would expect from like Amnesia or Outlast or whatever. It's first person horror. You go from point A to point B. There's like not even any mazes or anything like that. So everything's pretty straightforward. You're not going to need to get your handheld or look something up because it's really easy. And but it's about the story, it's about the experience. The voice acting itself is phenomenal. Because it doesn't overstay its welcome by any means, which
no.
Some of these games tend to do, where you're like getting near the end and you're just like, when's this over? I mean, It's just so even though it was 4 maybe 5 hours long, I didn't feel like I was ripped off or wasted my time. It was a really great experience. Highly recommend it. And kind of as a side note related to that, I ended up watching this Amazon show called The Rig, which kind of the same thing. It's it's a thriller show on the oil rig, has Ian Glenn, Sir Joe Mormont.
Okay.
Yep. And the guy who plays Alistair Thorne. So there's it's a Scottish casting there too, coincidentally. But it's not like a body horror thing-esque stuff, but it's like a mysterious fog just like covers them, and then people start kind of going crazy. So it got renewed for a second season, I believe. So there's gonna be more for it coming out. The first season came out sometime last year, I want to say, maybe this year. But good watch. I guess it's a great way to follow up this if you want more oil rig type environment, because there's so much overlap from Still Wakes the Deep in the rig show. So they definitely did their research on how a rig operates and what it looks like to be on them. And I think I even read that online that they did a lot of research for this.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. That early access game I like to play, Infection Free Zone, got its first big content update. So among the big changes that they've done to it, they've added new types of buildings that you can explore, like museums and sports stores. So the primary thing that they added is now all your like squads have a armor slot now, so you can find equipment to give them more armor or health. So when you're fighting, like, let's say the alpha infected, you're not getting shredded as soon as they get to you. They've also made shotgun scavengable. It used to be you had to manufacture them, so shotguns give you a lot more power in the early game if you happen to find them. Trees will regrow on their own. They added children, so if you have a population, you'll start getting children. After a couple of days, they'll be up to an adult. So you have a steady population growth, and I think those were the main changes they did. They're teasing more updates, like for bigger buildings. It used to be like they're impossible to defend because your like radius for your attack range for your squad starts at the middle of the building. So if it's way too big, you can't even shoot outside the building. So they're going to make it to where you can traverse inside these buildings and move your squads to different points on the building to defend it. So I really appreciate them continuing to support this game and add new features and make it a better experience overall. I mean, that's what early access is for, as we've seen with like long-term projects in the AAA sphere, like Baldur's Gate 3. So, I mean, this isn't on that level, but, it's nice when a game doesn't get abandoned in early access, like I've seen with some in the past. More Kingdom Hearts 2. So, done all necessary pretty much the story content. Got myself right up to the final Xemnas fight, and now it's just about doing all the journal stuff, all the mini games to get into the store and stuff
all
like
that. Good
that.
stuff.
I've done all the absent silhouettes. Still have to do like all those data replica fights, but I might need to grind myself out, get all the synthesis materials I need to get like the ultimate Keyblade and some of the better accessories and armor. So that'll be a work in progress. But so far, in Diablo 4, that's the last one. And got myself up to level 85. I decided to just finally just buy the Battle Pass since I've been putting so much time in it. And I got to the last tier of that. So I'm not sure how much more I'll play. I want to get to a character to level 100 at least to experience what it's like to get to that point. And I mean, yeah, the season ends like the first week of August, so I still got like over a month to do. And I want to manifest something into the universe because it kind of came into my head the other day. So I was at Disney Springs over the weekend, and it kind of popped in my head as I've been playing Kingdom Hearts that Disney's working on the 5th park, or that's the rumor that they're going to have like a 5th park. I was thinking, this is probably a long shot, right? But what if they had like a Twilight Town, Traverse Town section of the park? You could have all sorts of like Kingdom Hearts related stuff. You go there, get like all the different Kingdom Heart like Keyblade replicas, maybe even create your own like the lightsaber kind of shit. They could have like rides like a gummy ship ride or something like that. You get all the sweets like this sea salt ice cream, let's say. Like this is just something I'm like, they could do a whole section of the park, kind of like Green Gots for like Universal, make it like Kingdom Hearts related. And I'm sure that there's enough love for Kingdom Hearts out there that I think it would work.
I think people would travel to wherever that location was just to go to that. So
like Universal's getting its Nintendo World, Disney should have its own video game area kind of section where
I mean it's becoming one of the largest mediums in the world, so you can't really ignore it at this point. But no, that's awesome, man. And I'm doing what I can to help manifest that, because that'd be so sick.
I gotta speak into the universe. I'm sure someone's pitched it too at some point, but I'm doing it now too.
It's going the way of my Dino Crisis dreams.
I think I just had something pop in my head when Eric was talking about Midnight Suns. Wasn't there something about the XCOM creators going to be making a Star Wars game?
Are they?
I think I saw something about that on Twitter, like maybe a couple days ago.
Let's go look.
Yeah.
Let's see. XCOM,
that would be
Star Wars.
super, super dope.
I know you can mod the shit out of Star Wars into XCOM.
6 days ago on the XCOM subreddit, former XCOM devs working on Star Wars tactical game. So it's not necessarily the XCOM developers, but former members of the team.
I mean, and sometimes when people kind of stray off from their original studio and go and create their new one and make their new game, you get to see some really cool stuff. I mean, we literally just saw it with Eternal Strands and Yellowbird Games. Like what they're cooking over there is obviously they have some incredibly talented folks who are making something awesome. But in addition, when you bring, Jonathan is worked with Ubisoft previously, and Mike and all of his BioWare experience, and I'm sure a lot of the other folks are bringing in experience from all these other studios. Like that's how you cook up a new exciting IP, and so that'll be awesome. Excited to hear more about that, because I had no idea. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, it's been a slow week, so any news is good news. And speaking of good news, we have some really, really exciting stuff to share. So first, I'll start off with something we've already announced, but I just wanted to take a moment to talk about it here on the pod. In addition to obviously doing what we do, we also get to interview folks who in the gaming universe. We've interviewed, developers, directors, actors, and we'd like to even expand that even further. We, looking at potential audio design and musicians. We're really open. We'd love to learn more about how games are made and what makes them so special. Well, as part of our expanding, this podcast and its scope, we applied to go ahead and have media credentials at my local event here in Salt Lake City. It's called FanX. We got accepted, which is so cool. There's going to be some insanely noticeable people there, especially in relation to gaming. Nolan North, who you may know as Nathan Drake from Uncharted, among his million other roles. Patricia Somerset, who is Zelda in Breath of the Wild. There's a bunch more. I don't necessarily have the list right in front of me. Actually, I do, so never mind. Some of the lists. So we've got people from Final Fantasy, Phil Lamar from Futurama and Justice League. Some of our even previous guests are going to be there. Deborah Wild from Baldur's Gate 3 and Cyberpunk 2077. Neil Newbon, Roger Craig Smith. So some very awesome voice actors and some voice talent that's going to be there. We'll be looking to go ahead and get content, maybe potentially touch base with them, see if they're willing to go ahead and come onto the show. But regardless, we'll be getting content fresh from there for you guys. And also we'll be looking to see if Dash and Eric can go ahead and basically get the same thing at their respective conferences. This is just a first big step in, like I mentioned, just a big expansion on what we're planning. It's extremely exciting. It's extremely humbling as well because we started this off and none of this was in the plans at all. I asked Eric and Dash to do this with me. We were just going to talk games. And then one day we ended up getting in touch with Doug Cockle, and that changed the entire trajectory of the podcast. So, Doug, if you're listening, if you ever see this, thank you so much. You have no idea how big of an impact one 30-minute session with us did. And especially you were recovering from a cancer treatment, which is, you didn't have to take that time. It means a lot to us. So thank you so much.
Been watching them on Natural 6 a lot lately too. So
I receive you. You're getting a kiss, buddy.
At one point, we all need to get to a convention together too.
That will be the plan.
Yes.
We will all make our ways, and maybe we'll be making our way to some of these bigger ones. Summer Game Fest eventually, Gamescom. There's a lot of different, festivals and things of that nature that I'd love to see us all be a part of. And as we continue growing, this community and, just the pod itself, that's my hope. And we'll take this one day at a time and see what happens. So that's our first bit of big news, which we have obviously mentioned on our socials previously. So if you follow us there, you probably already knew. Second thing, which I have not mentioned, is that we are so excited to announce that we have entered in a partnership with a game studio.
Fucking demo testers, baby.
Yeah, we are going to be, talking a lot about a new game coming out. It's called A Good Night's Rest. We're partnering with Rookery Interactive, who is the indie game studio behind A Good Night's Rest. Rookery Interactive is a woman-owned LGBTQ+ indie game studio. They're launching this game, A Good Night's Rest, which is a brand new turn-based tactical RPG. It's coming to Steam. You can wishlist it now. We'll have the link in all of our socials for you to be able to go ahead and do. Obviously, we'll have more info to come, but this is something that we have not been able to talk about until just recently. We are going to be really hands-on with the developers, which is so cool. And we've had some, obviously, conversations with some development teams, Mike Laidlaw and Jonathan Rousseau of Yellow Brick Games, and getting to talk with them was very, very cool. This is a little bit more, I guess, of an enhancement on that process. We'll be sharing more. The demo is going to be coming live here pretty soon, so we'll obviously be sharing as soon as that's available. But again, we will have the link to be able to go ahead and wishlist the game as soon as it's available. But that's our next bit of big news. So while maybe news-wise in the entire gaming world is a little slow, for us, it's been an exciting week. It's something I think that we're, I think we're proud of what we've accomplished so far, and we're looking forward to, continuing that. So if any other indie game studios are, potentially looking at, involving us with, some feedback regarding your game, we are absolutely open. So for our next bit of news, one thing that I have really, really loved about the development of College Football 25 is there's been a huge transparency of like new info and new features that are coming out that have really made this feel like this game is not just going to be a Madden reskin. Today they announced some additional features surrounding like
Team
some
builder
of the
looks good.
physics. Yeah, the team builder, the physics of it all.
The old team builder's ass.
The idea of like really customizing each team to have like things that are very specific to those teams or those areas, like fans doing specific things in the stand that you would actually see, in like the swamp for the Florida Gators, or
the fight songs,
or the horseshoe at Ohio State. Like there is it feels so different than Madden, and that is one so refreshing because Madden is typically just reskin with maybe 1 to 2 new features on a yearly basis. And that's a little frustrating, but people buy it, so it doesn't really matter. Well, I don't know that I'm going to buy Madden this year, especially with this. Like, I will probably play this. Bought it physical. They will never take it away from me. It looks incredible.
Madden 25 this year is going to be so funny because we technically already had Madden 25 a few years ago.
Yeah, because it was the 25th anniversary.
Someone's going to be like, Mom, I want Madden 25. And it's just,
she's going to go buy the Xbox 360 version. And
some kid's going to get like the very cheap version of it now. And it's going to be the old, like, what year did that even come out in?
So it was the 25th anniversary. It had Barry Sanders on the cover, or no, it had Barry Sanders and Adrian Peterson, depending on which version you purchased.
I had on PS4, so it was that era.
So at least 2014. So
2018 came out.
Yeah, it might have been.
Let's see. 2013.
Oh, never mind. Holy shit.
An 11-year-old game. Well, hopefully it's not just I'm sure it's sitting on like the cheap section of every GameStop shelf in the used game section
certainly.
at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very impressed with what we've seen so far from college football. I'm very excited. Literally, it's my most anticipated game of the summer right now.
Texas A&M somehow being the toughest place to play.
Yeah, I'm not gonna understand how they made some of the decisions they made, but it's here. The game is finally almost here. Insert the meme from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I waited 12 years for this, and that's how it feels. Honestly, that's 100% what I'm
almost how long
for this episode. Yeah, it has been. College football was NCAA football 2014 was the last
2013 in that summer.
11 years.
Yeah. 11 years.
So I'm still putting the 12 years meme with it. I don't care.
Actually, coincidentally, that was when Madden came out. Madden 25 came out. So
yeah, they knew they were just foretelling the future in that case. So one other positive thing that I want to get to, and we're going to dive into a not so positive subject after that, which has been just rampaging over all of gaming news over the last 2 to 3 days. But Capcom is a little bit in their bag right now. We obviously got news that the Capcom Fighting Collection, which looks awesome, is going to be coming to modern consoles. I know a lot of people are looking to potentially purchase it as physical, kind of same thing as me with college football. Licenses can be revoked, so maybe just something to potentially look at. But in addition, GOG announced that Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and this is the OG Resident Evil, not the remakes, are available to purchase as of today. So that is awesome news. And then also, because that's not it, they're doing a Dead Rising remaster. Like,
looks like actually more like a remake. I think they're rebuilding it.
The name is a little odd in true Capcom fashion, but just the fact Capcom is obviously the master of remakes and remasters. We've gone over this. You can listen to our remake and remaster episode to get a little bit more insight into that. But man, it's awesome just to see some of these classic titles, except for Dino Crisis being put on major platforms and getting some love. I'm hoping that the reason that it's not is because it's being remade. It's the only thing I can think of. Capcom survey talking about, games they would like to see remade. I think Dino Crisis is either 1 or 2 in that list. Onimusha was also very high on those lists. So, we're lighting our prayer circle to get this underway.
Manifest it.
Yeah. That's what we're doing this episode, manifesting our own destinies. So, awesome bit of news from Capcom this week. Let's dive into the shitty news this week. And I guess it's super disappointing if you're a fan of this person. So, unless you are not super in the know as far as like gaming news, it came out this week that Doc Disrespect, who is arguably the largest streamer in the world, and it probably at certain times has been number one, news has come out that this individu
he's a diddler.
He is basically a pedophile, and
Wop, 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 wop.
Yeah, and like I know people who are huge fans of his and who are extremely disappointed because nobody likes to see their heroes in that light. Obviously, that's super shitty. I'm sorry for those people, but also shit things happen to shitty people. Like let's be honest. Do I feel bad for Doc Disrespect that like all of his sponsors are dropping him? I saw Turtle Beach has dropped. So he was banned from Twitch a few years ago. And I guess NDAs and things of that nature can now be talked about. That's why this is all coming out now. And even the game company that he helped found, the CEO of that company came out and, as if there was any question and said, talking to minors in this way is unacceptable, and I'm not going to associate myself with somebody like that. So,
it's not even like hearsay or anything. Like even Bloomberg has put out like a extensive piece.
Yeah, Jason Schreier, who is the name in video game journalism, has come out and Doc really didn't do himself any favors when he put out his own statement. Eric, I know you were mentioning it right before the show. If you're going to go out and mention minors like multiple times throughout your statement, and maybe it was a single minor or multiple, I saw like the 4th or 5th edited version by the time
he had minor in it. He took it out. He put it back in.
It just
it's pretty easy not to DM underage girls on fucking Twitch.
It's pretty. You could just stop at DM underage girls. It's really easy to not do that.
It's really easy to not do it at all.
I think this is coming from the same. This is coming from the same year, at least. I think with back then when he got caught cheating on his wife too, and was probably apologizing for that.
Yeah. Ultimately
that's who I feel the worst for is his family.
Yeah, his family's obviously in a really shitty situation.
Yeah,
and absolutely. Yeah. You hope that obviously the people who are being affected in this negative light, except for Doc, fuck him. But
and
everybody
fuck you
else,
if you're defending him too, because you're a fucking bitch. You're
honestly,
a bitch mate. 100%.
If you're gonna sit here and try and defend, okay, let's stop this for just one sec, because people will probably come out and say, well, there's no proof. The thing is, Doc could invalidate what everyone else is saying by just showing the texts. If he did that and he's, quote unquote, I didn't break any laws. He is a shitbag.
It's been, I think, pretty corroborated, at least, that it's because of the victim. They didn't want the information public, so that's why.
And I think that's fair, because that person should be protected. It's sad that this had to happen. It's good that we're getting a person like this out of this space, especially when he holds so much power. Like, Doc had videos with like the San Francisco 49ers. He's
in video games. He's in one of the NBA
COD
games.
Yeah. Like, he had a COD skin. He was
his goofy ass tack rig that he wears, body armor, is in Tarkov.
Yeah. And so you're seeing all of these companies start to separate themselves from him, and for good reason. There's
were
no
casual,
room for this.
mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate. There's no sometimes leaning too much in the direction of being inappropriate. If you're
They're
messaging
either
a
inappropriate
fucking
or
minor.
not.
Like
Yeah,
it's one a grown person.
How old is Doc? Like,
He's like in his 40s now. And
Yeah.
back then it was probably like
so mid 30s.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be over 21. Or you shouldn't even be over 18 messaging these people.
no, like it's different to say like, oh, they're a fan, and you say, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Like that's the extent of how that conversation goes. Thank you. That means a lot. It just with and I hope that this is a message to everyone else in the streaming community that this will not be tolerated. Like, no matter how big you are, because again, Doc is, if not the biggest, one of the biggest streamers in the entire world. Not anymore, obviously, but he was literally streaming Shadow of the Erd Tree. The video when you can kind of tell when he got caught was, it's kind of funny now, especially because like, fuck him. So I'd love to see the downfall of Doc Disrespect right now. But
it's always like one of those moments because I never actually liked him that much in the first place. So when you have those moments,
Never watched his content. I couldn't tell you anything on it. I mean, I get
felt
the
like
meme.
cringy.
Yeah, like I get the meme that he was going for, but I wasn't a hater and I wasn't a fan for sure.
Yeah.
no, it's, and there are so many incredibly talented people that you can support other than
Support the
guys like
people that are positive and do good.
Professor
for the,
Noctis.
Yeah.
A great example.
Dr.
One of our
Noctis.
previous guests on the show, who is one of the most like wholesome, kind-hearted people that we've had the opportunity to talk to. I feel like I say that every single time I talk about our guests, because really they have just been some of the most incredible people. Like, you'd be so surprised how nice all of these folks are, even off camera when we're shooting the shit before and after the episode. I've mentioned that's when some of our best memories of all of this has come through. But there are so many incredibly talented people who are not doing shady, skeevy shit on the side. They're the ones you want to support. They're the ones that you want to, hold on a pedestal and be proud to support. So, yeah, I wanted to have us take a moment and talk about it, because obviously it's been big in the news this week. And I'll just say it one last time. Fuck Doc Disrespect.
Just download Hinge, Twitter, Twitch, or fucking Bumble and mess with people your own age. It's not fucking hard. Not hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's about it from me, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm good. Fuck that dude.
Yeah, pretty sure we covered it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, again, thanks everybody for checking us out. We always appreciate it. We will be back next week, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more news next week to talk about, maybe some fun announcements, things of that nature. But we appreciate everybody who's been checking us out and continue to support. And again, be sure to go ahead and wish list A Good Night's Rest on Steam. We'll have the link on our socials for this episode. We'll catch you guys next time.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Thank y'all.